Hi, today I'm going to teach you how to calculate your relationship sign astrologically, the way proper astrologers do it, And I want you to listen not to just one video because it's not just one sign that describes your relationship. It's not that easy. Things are quite mixed always and quite complex, as you've noticed by far by real astrology I've been trying to teach you. It's never black and white. It's never, oh, your Aries and your partners will be always like Libras, But it's always, we look at relationship, first of all, from the ascendant sign. That's how we calculate relationship. From the seventh sign from the ascendant, or we call it the seventh house, describes your marriage partner. Most often how he'll be physically, how he'll be like persona-wise. But if you don't know your ascendant sign, you can find it by going to my website, AstroLada.com, following the link below. Or following the link below, and go to the ascendant sign calculator, enter the time of your birth correctly. Say if you're born 6:30 in the afternoon, enter it like 18:30, the European way. And once you have the ascendant sign, listen to the relationship description for the ascendant sign. Give the ascendant sign make it the first one you listen to, because it will be probably more than 40% true, You identify with more than 40% with it. And then find out your moon sign, because the moon has direct relevance to relationships as well, because the moon is the planet of emotions and feelings and vulnerability in our inner world and how we connect to others. Therefore, it's one of the most important planets for deciding relationships. And once you know the sign of your moon, then go and listen to the relationship description of your moon sign as well. It will probably give you 30% description of your partner will be like, or for some, even especially for females, because females identify with the moon much more than males, because the moon is a feminine planet and females are feminine creatures. A lot of the women can identify a lot with the description of the partnerships of the moon sign, actually, and again, the partnerships from the moon sign are again defined by counting 7 signs from the sign of the moon. So basically the opposite sign. It's always the opposite sign of the one that you have as the moon sign, as the ascendant sign, or sun sign. And also check the description of the partnership for your sun sign, especially males, because the sun is a masculine planet and males identify more with their rational, logical side, with their more, goal-oriented and active side, which is described by the moon. And a lot of women will also identify with it, because in those day and age, nowadays, women are much more in touch with their masculine side, with their active and goal-oriented, achieving side, rational side, And the sun sign is the one everyone knows. If you're born in April, you're probably Aries or Taurus. If you're born in September, you're probably Virgo or Libra. This is the one everyone knows. It will probably give you 25% the sign, the description of the partnerships that you're going to attract. But make sure you listen to the 3 of them to get the fuller picture. Some of you identify more with the ascendant sign partnership. Some of them will identify more with the sign opposite the moon. Some of you with the sign opposite the sun. But you will definitely feel the 3 sign partnerships as well. When you think about it, you will. But again, I keep saying, I think the ascendant is the most relevant one through watching through my practice in the long years. What happens if your ascendant, your moon sign, or your sun sign is in the sign of Taurus? Well, Taurus, as you know, is a very peaceful sign. It's a very materially oriented, pleasure oriented, easygoing sign. But what does your relationship sign become then? The 7th sign, the sign opposite Taurus, is Scorpio. And it's one of the most turbulent signs. What an irony, So even though you as a whole are peaceful and pleasure-loving people, your relationship can turn out to be extremely turbulent, full of crises, full of sudden reversals and unpredictable shake-ups, because Scorpio, imagine like the churning of the oceans. It's like this primordial energy that comes from there, this atomic energy almost. And a lot of you can can experience through your relationship a lot of crisis, and or your partners, you might be attracting often partners who are crisis prone, that experience very deep, that suffer very deep crisis or reversals in their lives. So this can awaken you. There is a meaning behind you. There is a spiritual meaning behind that, all this drama that you might experience in your relationships or through partnerships. And the drama is to make you, to awaken you to your emotional needs. Because Tauruses, people who have their ascendant, their moon or sun in Taurus, they seem to focus themselves on their material needs, on the outside circumstances, the things that surround them. They base their security on these things, whether it's collecting money, whether it's identifying with the partner you have, who is always there, being stable, with outside resources, with outside circumstances. You have a tendency to do that, you know. And the evolutionary goal that your partners will present, that you will develop through the relationship troubles that or crisis situations or extreme situations that you're having, it will awaken you to your need for inner emotional self-sufficiency, inner emotional self-security. And so even though everything is taken away from you, whether it's material, whether it's partnerships that your sense of identity came through, probably that partnership that you had in your life for 15 years, you know, and if it's one day taken away from you in some unfortunate way, it's only because you have to learn not to identify so much with outside material things, not to rely so much on the material things, but also to develop, I keep saying, sorry if I repeat myself, but it's just an important point I want to hammer into your head, to develop self-sufficiency, and whatever happens to you, to have this inner strength, you know. And this inner strength is shown by the opposite sign, and often you'll be attracting partners, Scorpio type of partners, whether they have planets in Scorpio, whether they're moon or ascendant or sun, or even if they don't have any planets in Scorpio, they'll behave like Scorpio a lot. That are very strong, powerful people. They cannot be you know, they cannot be moved by the vicissitudes of life, because they've gone through so many crisis situations and ups and downs that they've learned to rely on themselves, and they've learned that it's not, it's outside circumstances don't matter. It's your inner state that matters, because Scorpio type of partners, they have a very psychological slant to them, very much deep, profound understanding of life. There is no superficiality where they identify with outside material circumstances or possessions. Their strength comes from within, from the darker side, from the most psychological, subconscious part of themselves, because they've been to hell and back, you know. They've been to hell and back, and they've fought with their own demons, and they've overcome them. And you know, they have this very in the worst extremes, they will be emotionally disturbed because they still haven't worked through those Scorpio energies in their lives, so they'll be going through their crisis themselves. And in the best possible case, when you become also more aware, more evolved, you'll be attracting healthy Scorpio type of partners who have discovered this inner peace, and they cannot be moved by any outside circumstances. They're so resolved and focused and centered within their self, within they're emotionally self-sufficient and self-secure, you know. And often those Scorpio type of partners, even if they're not Scorpio themselves, you know, but you can be attracting quite secretive partners, you know, quite who are withdrawn, who always observe. It might be hard to make this person commit at the beginning because they're just watching you, observing you from far. It might take you a while till they start trusting you, the type, you know, your long-term relationships, because as I've said, they know the negative side and the undercurrents in people's, because they're such psychologists. They feel the undercurrents, they've seen the darker side of life, and they don't easily trust. You know, they always are observing a person to see if what his motives are, whether he will be loyal, whether he's trustworthy. You know, so these people can be you know, they will require time till they open up to you, your partners. But once they open up, Scorpio type of people, partnerships that you attract have an unbelievable ability to be loyal, you know, and for long-term relationship. That's the good news for you. If you get in long-term relationship, they usually are long-term ones, you know. It's rare for people with Taurus ascendants or sun or moon in Taurus to have multiple relationships jumping here and there. It usually, especially later in life, you're stable with one partner, you know, and your partner will be also loyal to you. And the type of partners you'll be attracting, even when you're already with them and they trust you, they'll still keep watching every step of yours. They might be distrustful still. They might be checking your emails secretly. They might be following you around. Don't try and lie to them. There is no lying to this kind of partners you'll be attracting. Always they'll be very psychologically tuned in into your undercurrents, and they're watching you almost like a prey, you know. They're waiting for you to make a wrong move. Because, as I keep saying, they're very aware of the darker nature of people. They have to fight their own demons. They've been there, they've done that. They know that people are not angels and they're not so trustworthy. But when you win their, as I say, when you win their trust, you'll have to keep proving it to them over and over again, you know. But they'll be loyal, they'll be there for you, they'll fully merge with you, they'll give you so much intensity and depth into your life, you know, because Taurus is known, you as Tauruses, you're known to enjoy the more superficial, the more pleasant outside pleasures of life, like sensual enjoyments, good food, nice music, you know. While the type of partners you'll be attracting, they would be taking you for a ride deep down, you know. They'll teach you to be more intense. They'll bring depth and intensity to your life, you know, through their mysteriousness, secretiveness, through their crisis-prone nature as well. And they also often you'll be attracted to people that are very magnetic and mesmerizing, hypnotic almost, because Scorpio, imagine it can hypnotize you. It's the sign of hypnosis as well. It's the sign of the magician and the dark occult art. So these people, they have great psychological and spiritual power and very strong sexual energy, because the sexual energy is actually untransformed spiritual energy. So these people in their lower, you know, if they're not so involved, you can often attract extremely sexual partners who try and control you, dominate you through sex games, through manipulation somehow, you know, subversely, not open-mindedly, you know, but for them, because they're so fearful of human nature, they try and control it. The ones that are not so developed type of partners you can attract, you know. But the ones who are developed, they're just the opposite. They're those regenerated Scorpio type of partners who nothing can perturb them. They have extremely powerful ability to materialize, to make things happen, almost like magician, you know. The Scorpio is this magnetic, intense sign that puts its focus on something, can make things happen, and they can transform you as well from this superficial Taurian type of person into a person full of depth, full of understanding of the hidden forces in life and hidden forces in the universe, and how to make magic happen in your life, you know, through the power of through your own willpower, through your own focus. And you need such partnerships, you know, you need such intense, obsessive partners, you know. They can be sometimes very quick to insult and they don't forget easily, you know, especially the unregenerated Scorpios, which is probably 90% of Scorpio type of partners you'll be attracting, because most people are not so spiritually evolved. So you can see, you know, they harbor resentments in them. They can remember for long periods of time if you hurt them, even if they don't show it to you because they're very secretive. They'll strike back maybe 2-3 years later. They'll still remember what you did, that you said, that you mentioned your ex-girlfriend, that she looked good. You mentioned probably 3 years ago, and they still harbor resentments. You know, this is usually the type of partner you'll be attracting. And but they'll bring a lot of passion again into your life, a lot of they'll perturb a bit the calmness that Taurus is used to. They will bring a lot of crisis situations, as I say. But the ultimate goal is for you to develop emotional self-dependence and self-sufficiency, not dependency, emotional self-security. I hope you enjoy these Tauruses and give me feedback what you think about